The African Union has sounded the alarm over a El Niño event expected to peak between November 2026 and February 2027, warning it could be the strongest since 1950. Agriculture Commissioner Moses Vilakati told a meeting in Addis Ababa that government must prepare for severe drought, floods, heat waves, food shortages, and disease outbreaks. Vilakati noted the 2023-2024 El Niño left more than 71 million people in need across southern Africa, disrupting farming, hydropower, and food security. He urged stronger early warning systems and investment in climate resilience, stressing that the difference between a manageable crisis and a humanitarian disaster will depend on preparations made now. Scientists say Africa is particularly vulnerable due to its reliance on rain-fed agriculture and growing climate risks. Nigeria's anti-narcotics agency has dismantled what it calls the country's largest clandestine methamphetamine laboratory, discovered deep inside a forest in Ogun State. Footage Wednesday showed forensic officers removing barrels and bags of chemicals before destroying the equipment under a court order. Patricia Afolabi, NDLEA's Director of Forensics, said the lab posed serious environmental and health risks. Investigators recovered solvents, acids, salts, and crystalline substances used in meth production. Deputy Inspector General James Tarba explained the facility was designed for export, with shipment bound for Europe. Authorities warn criminal networks are building increasingly sophisticated labs in remote areas to avoid detection. The UN notes West Africa has become a growing hub for meth trafficking, with exports reaching global markets. Protests in Kiev are continuing as demonstrators demand the reinstatement of former Defense Minister Mikhail Fyodorov, who was dismissed in a mid-July cabinet reshuffle. Footage showed crowds chanting anti-government slogans and holding signs accusing President Volodymyr Zelensky of lying about the reasons for the shakeup. Zelensky said Fyodorov and then Armed Forces Commander Alexander Sirski could not work together, prompting changes to restore unity. Sirski has since been replaced by Mikhailo Drapati, while Fyodorov rejected an offer to serve as Deputy Prime Minister for Military Innovation. In an interview, Fyodorov claimed he was removed for pushing reforms in military procurement, which he said met resistance from vested interests. Russian ambassador to Germany Sergei Kyev has raised alarm over reports of joint nuclear exercises by Germany and France, asking why conduct such exercises. He warned the drills risk escalating tensions and undermining regional stability. Moscow argues the maneuvers send the wrong signal at a time when dialogue is needed, framing them as provocative and unnecessary. Germany and France, however, maintain that nuclear readiness exercises are part of NATO's deterrence strategy and emphasize they are defensive in nature. The remarks highlight growing mistrust between Russia and Western powers, with nuclear policy once again at the center of geopolitical friction. Observers say the exchange underscores the fragile balance of security in Europe. Saudi Arabia has hosted military chiefs and representatives from dozens of countries in Riyadh, advancing plans for a multinational maritime defense coalition. Footage released on Thursday by the Defense Ministry showed officials from the UK, Malaysia, Jordan, and the European Union among those attending. The Saudi press agency said the initiative aims to strengthen maritime security, protect shipping lanes, and confront threats to global trade. Chiefs of staff or their representatives from 43 countries joined, with 51 nations and organizations invited overall. Founding members say the coalition will safeguard navigation and energy routes in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden in line with international law. The move follows escalating tensions with Yemen's Houthis, who recently announced a ban on maritime navigation and claimed attacks on Saudi ships. South Africa's Foreign Minister Ronald Lamola has rejected allegations of mistreatment of foreign migrants, insisting the country has the sovereign right to enforce its immigration laws. Speaking Thursday after the 69th ECOWAS summit communique, Lamola condemned isolated acts of violence but stressed the situation has stabilized. He confirmed 82 arrests nationwide for looting and vandalism, saying it shows the government's firm response. His remarks follow petitions by Ghanaian nationals to the International Criminal Court and concerns raised at the African Union over alleged xenophobic attacks. South Africa has faced a wave of anti-migrant protests in recent weeks, straining ties with Ghana and Nigeria. Lamola emphasized that while irregular migration must be addressed, xenophobia is not state-sponsored and perpetrators will face justice. UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan arrived in Belgrade on Thursday for talks with Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić as part of his European tour. Footage showed the latest meeting at Belgrade Airport and holding discussions before touring an interactive exhibition center for Expo 2027, which Serbia will host next year. UAE media reported the talks focused on investment, trade, and renewable energy under their comprehensive strategic partnership. The UAE leader also announced scholarships for Serbian students to study in the Emirates in science, technology, and artificial intelligence. The visit highlights growing cooperation between the two countries, with the UAE president also scheduled to travel to Slovakia during his European tour. Russia has marked Morocco's Throne Day with a message of congratulations from Federation Council Speaker Valentina Matviyenko to her Moroccan counterpart Mohamed Ould Rachid. Matviyenko described Morocco as an important partner for Russia on the African continent and pledged to deepen ties under a strategic partnership framework. She invited Rachid to visit Russia later in 2026, saying such exchanges would strengthen cooperation across multiple sectors. Matviyenko also wished Morocco's parliament success in its legislative work and extended prosperity wishes to the Moroccan people. Throne Day, celebrated annually on July 30, marks King Mohammed VI's accession to the throne in 1999. Earlier, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko also congratulated the monarch, expressing commitment to expand cooperation with Morocco. South Sudan and Russia have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties during talks in Juba between Foreign Minister Dr. James Peter Morgan and Russian Chargé d'Affaires Dmitry Gusev. The meeting focused on expanding cooperation in agriculture, humanitarian assistance, energy, and other areas of mutual interest. Minister Morgan officially confirmed President Salva Kiir Mayardit will attend the upcoming Russia-Africa Summit in Moscow this autumn. Both sides also highlighted preparations to mark 15 years of diplomatic relations, pledging to deepen their strategic partnership. The summit, scheduled for October 28 and 29, is expected to showcase Russia's growing engagement with African nations and reinforce South Sudan's role in regional cooperation. Chile and Venezuela have agreed to restore consular relations, opening a path toward gradually rebuilding ties frozen since Venezuela's 2024 election. Chilean President Jose Antonio Cast welcomed the move, praising acting President Delcy Rodriguez's readiness to cooperate. A joint statement said the first stage will focus on consular services before any full diplomatic resumption, stressing dialogue, reciprocity, and international law. Chile's Foreign Minister Francisco Perez Mackenna noted the agreement will benefit 700,000 Venezuelans living in Chile and 25,000 Chileans in Venezuela. Relations collapsed after Caracas expelled Chilean diplomats in 2024, but the announcement follows a similar deal between Venezuela and Peru last week, signaling a broader push for regional normalization.